Have you ever searched for a flight, found a decent price, and then returned an hour later to see it has vanished? Or maybe your friend sitting right next to you paid $100 less for the exact same flight. If so, you're not alone. Welcome to the wild, often confusing world of airfare pricing. It can feel like a game where the rules are constantly changing. And the house, the airline, always seems to win. But what if I told you that it's not just random luck? There's a method to the madness. And understanding it is the first step to saving a lot of money. The price of an airline ticket is one of the most volatile things you can buy. It can change multiple times a day, even multiple times an hour. This isn't an accident. Airlines use incredibly complex algorithms, powered by teams of analysts, to squeeze every possible dollar out of every single seat on every single flight. They know when you're likely to travel for a holiday, a business trip, a last-minute emergency. They are masters of predicting human behavior. Let's start with a big one that shows just how much location matters. The cost of flying isn't the same everywhere, not by a long shot. According to a comprehensive 2024 Global Flight Price Index, the average cost for a 100 km domestic flight can vary wildly from one country to another. For instance, in a country like India, you might pay an average of just $4.50 for that short hop. Now, let's compare that to a country with a more developed and consolidated airline market, like the United States, where the same distance could set you back an average of $15.20. That's more than 3 times the price for the same distance traveled. This massive difference isn't just a fluke, it's a pattern seen all over the world. Consider another example. A short domestic flight in Brazil might average around $5.80 per 100 kilometers, making it one of the cheaper places to fly. Then you look at a country like Switzerland, where that number can skyrocket to over $30. These figures reveal a fundamental truth about airfare. The price has less to do with the actual cost of operating the plane, fuel, staff, and so on, and more to do with the economic environment of the country you're in. Local competition, government taxes, airport fees, average consumer income. So what does this mean for you, the traveler? It means that your home base airport has a massive impact on how much you pay for air travel overall. If you live in a region with intense competition among budget carriers, you've probably heard the old advice: always book your flights on a Tuesday. For years, this was the golden rule of travel hacking, passed down from traveler to traveler. The theory: airlines released new weekly sales on Monday nights. That made Tuesday the supposed best day to snag a deal. However, recent data analysis from multiple sources, including a massive study by Google Flights, has debunked the myth. Over the past 5 years, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Thursdays were on average only 1.9% cheaper than weekend bookings. 1.9% is real, but not game-changing. Airfare is now far too dynamic for a weekly schedule. Airlines use automated real-time pricing systems. They constantly adjust fares based on supply and demand. Sales can launch at any moment, on any day, and sometimes last only a few hours. We even see mistake fares, like a $250 round trip from New York to Tokyo, pop up at 10 p.m. on a Saturday. The best deals don't keep 9 to 5 hours. So if Tuesday isn't magic, when should you book? While the day you book may not matter much, the timing of your booking is absolutely critical. This is the prime booking window. For domestic U.S. flights, lowest fares typically found between 21 days, 105 days, that's roughly 1 to 3 months out. Booking further than 105 days rarely helps. Airlines rarely post best sales more than 3 months ahead or 4 months ahead. On the flip side, last-minute bookings cost way more. Inside of 21 days, prices begin to skyrocket. Many last-minute bookers are business travelers, others are people dealing with an emergency. Algorithms treat a booking 10 days out as non-leisure. That $200 economy seat 2 months ago could be $500 or more now. Think of the 21 to 105 day period as the Goldilocks zone, the sweet spot. Airlines are likelier to launch sales then to fill seats. This is when pricing is most competitive. Build your strategy around this window. Know your travel dates and start researching. If your trip is 6 months away, set a fare alert. Wait until the 3-month window to watch closely. Once inside the Goldilocks zone, monitor prices actively. When you see a price 20% lower than the average, let's dig a little deeper into the danger of last-minute booking. The numbers are truly shocking. According to an analysis of millions of airfares, booking within 7 days costs, on average, a staggering 45% more. Think about that for a moment. Typical fare: $300 extra cost. $135, no extra services or amenities. The seat is the same, the plane is the same. You're paying a penalty for booking late. The price jump gets worse as departure nears fares 1-2 days out can be 70% up to 100% higher. This is pricing at its most ruthless. They identify desperate travelers and charge accordingly. Crucial stat for spontaneous planners: last-minute weekend getaways sound romantic but usually carry a hefty price tag. Planning ahead is one of the single most effective ways to save. Real-world example: Chicago. When it comes to booking international flights, the rules change a bit. The booking window you need to consider is much longer. Domestic sweet spot, 1 to 3 months. International, think further ahead. Our data, from tracking millions of international fares, shows the prime window is 2 to 8 months. The absolute best deals often pop up about 3 to 6 months in advance. This is a much wider window, reflecting more complex planning. Why the longer window? International trips are a bigger commitment. Travelers need time to arrange visas, travelers need time to book accommodations, travelers need time to plan complex itineraries. Airlines know this, so they release schedules and initial pricing earlier. However, booking too early, more than 8 months out, means you'll likely pay a premium. Let's consider a flight from Los Angeles to Paris. If you look a year in advance, fares might hover around $1,200. The airline is just testing the waters, but set an alert and wait. A sale 5 months before can drop it to $650 round trip. This is the sweet spot in action. Conversely, wait until 2 months before. That sale fare will likely be gone. Prices start their steady climb back up to $1,000 or more as departure nears and the plane fills up with less price-sensitive travelers. This is especially crucial for trips around popular holidays or peak seasons. The rise of budget airlines, also known as low-cost carriers, has fundamentally changed the airfare landscape. A powerful statistic illustrates this perfectly. On routes where a traditional airline, like American, Delta, United, competes directly with a budget airline like Spirit, Frontier, Allegiant, the average fare is about 22% lower. This is known as the Spirit effect, or more broadly, the budget airline effect. Even if you never intend to fly on a budget airline, their mere presence forces legacy carriers to lower prices. This is a huge win for consumers. In Europe, Ryanair and EasyJet pushed intra-European fares down. Fares under $20 one way are not uncommon. Similarly, in Southeast Asia, carriers like AirAsia made air travel accessible to millions, forcing legacy carriers like Singapore Airlines and Thai Airways to offer more competitive regional fares. First, when planning a trip, actively seek out routes served by budget airlines. Even if you prefer the comfort of a traditional airline, competing routes create deals. You're more likely to find a deal when they compete. Use flight search engines that show all carriers, including low-cost ones. Before you book, always do the math. Compare the all-in price. Here's a statistic that might seem counterintuitive at first. It is often cheaper to fly through an airline's hub airport than to fly to it. For example, a flight from New York City to Charlotte, a major hub for American Airlines, can often be more expensive than a flight from New York City to a smaller city like Asheville, North Carolina, that connects in Charlotte on the very same flight. Why does this happen? It all comes down to a lack of competition. Airlines have a captive market at their hub airports. At a hub like Atlanta, a Delta hub, or Dallas-Fort Worth, an American Airlines hub, the dominant airline controls a huge majority of the flights, often 70% or more. This means they don't have to compete on price for passengers whose journey begins or ends there. They know local travelers have limited options, so they can charge a premium. However, for a passenger flying from a non-hub city to another non-hub city, the airline has to compete with other carriers for that connecting traffic. To win that business, they must offer a lower, more competitive through fare. This pricing anomaly creates a clever travel hacking opportunity known as hidden city ticketing, skip lagging. For instance, if you want to go to Charlotte and the direct flight is $400, but a flight to Asheville with a layover in Charlotte is only $250. We've journeyed through the complex world of airfare and uncovered some surprising truths. We've seen that the price of a flight has less to do with distance and more to do with competition and local economics. We've busted the myth of the magic booking day and replaced it with the Goldilocks window. 1 to 3 months for domestic, 2 to 8 months for international trips. We've quantified the high price of procrastination and how budget carriers can drive down prices even if you don't fly them. These aren't just interesting factoids, they are tools. Be flexible and prepared. Set fare alerts, monitor inside the prime window, and compare airports. Set up fare alerts long before travel so you can act when a true bargain appears. When a Scott's Cheap Flights level deal arrives, you'll know to pounce. That decision can save you hundreds of dollars. The world is waiting for you. Don't let confusing and expensive airfare stand in your way. By using these stats and strategies, you can make travel more affordable and more frequent. You can take that extra trip this year, upgrade your hotel, enjoy the savings, and relish the peace of mind from knowing you didn't overpay. The airline pricing game may be complex, but it's not unbeatable. Now you have the rulebook. Go out there and find your next great adventure for less.